Hi, and welcome to the second episode of me and Pam with Be Creative Crafts collaboration live called Just Bee Stitching with Pam and Connie. And today we're going to be talking about helpful tips when it comes to designing patterns. So we're going to give it a little while before we really get started. But how are you doing today, Pam?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good and awesome that you're doing great. I see we have Diane, Samantha, Melanie, and Melissa
Hey,
in the
everybody.
house. How are all of
Welcome.
y'all doing? Howdy, howdy. And what are y'all currently working on? And yes, I know it's been a while since I've been live. And if there's anyone that doesn't know what's been going on, I posted a video Wednesday that goes into all the details. But I do have one update for y'all. I know I said that I probably wouldn't be doing that many videos until things calm down on my health. But after I did the filming Wednesday, I got motivated to do more videos. But in the same aspect, there may be times where something happens where I may not be able to. So I'm not going to say I'm completely back per se, but I should have more content coming.
Well, that's good. And you just have to do what your body is letting you do when you can do it.
Because like there may be days I may not feel as good, or maybe I don't know what's going to come with some of the stuff that my doctor's still trying to figure out.
Right.
But like my blood pressure's coming down, my glucose level is coming down. Now like yesterday my blood pressure was 110 over 62. So it was a normal range.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all don't want to know how high it got. Like the top number was over 200 and the bottom number was I think in the 140s.
Oh, wow.
I was
Yes, I'm
like
working on a blanket.
I was a stroke waiting to happen.
Yeah, it sounds like.
And I'm lucky.
Very, very lucky.
But anyway, and with my live schedule, basically, I'm going to cut down to once a week. So I'm going to do lives every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. And I'm going to kind of break this down what my plans are. The first Saturday of the month, I'm going to do my informative educational type lives. And that's basically the same style I used to do.
Yeah.
Um, so that's really nothing new. The second Saturday, and I'm planning to start this next Saturday unless something happens. I'm going to start a live called it's going to be called Weigh In with Connie. And this is something to help motivate, encourage anyone that is looking to lose weight, and like going to share a lot of helpful information. And I will be making a video that will be sometime this coming week that's going to explain it more. So be on the lookout for that. And if you know somebody maybe that struggles with their weight and wants to lose weight, you know, maybe encourage them to watch.
Okay.
Then the third Saturday of the month, I'll basically do a live where I shared like different types of patterns. And y'all seen how I've shared patterns before on lives, but this one will probably be like the whole thing sharing patterns. Then the fourth Saturday of the month, I'll do a topic with a guest star, which basically isn't anything new.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there's a fifth Saturday of the month, I'll do a topic with the guest star. So that's how my life schedule is going to work. And then me and Pam will have our collab lives, um, which is typically once, it's once a month, the first Monday of the month. And I can't remember what time we go. Is it 1 p.m. Central?
1 Central. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So now, as far as the Southern Crocheters, I know Barbara has some stuff going on, so that's on pause right now. But we will be coming back, and we do have some exciting news to share when we come back. Now the Yarnaholics, I really don't know what's going on with us. Because it's like, with 5 people, it's hard to find. And I know for a while there, it seemed like all of us were having something going on. And it's just like we never really resumed it.
Right.
So that's what I want to update y'all with. And I'm going to greet the rest of y'all that have joined us. And then we'll start getting into today's topic.
Sounds good.
Okay, we have Jamie, Joy. Uh, I see Melissa saying she's been on the noon diet since February and has lost 16 pounds
Oh,
and able
wow.
to go off of one of two blood pressure meds. Ooh, that's awesome, Melissa.
That's great.
And really, since April 5th, I've lost 15.4 pounds.
Oh, that's
So,
good.
and that's where it kind of like encouraged me to do this idea.
Right.
And I'm also going to have a make along that I'll be starting sometime next week
Hey,
that has
Niecy.
to do with weight loss. And I'll be sharing more details with it. So be on the lookout for that. Let's see who else has joined us.
Miss Gloria.
And Samantha, Gloria. I'm working from the bottom up.
Let me scroll back up. Let's see where we
And
were.
oh yeah, and I want to thank all of y'all for the prayers and well wishes and all. Um, let's see. Samantha says she's working on Granny Square blanket and cottage core mosaic blanket and solid color Granny Squares blanket and butterfly mosaic blanket. Ooh, sweet. Melissa's knitting socks with the yarn from Thursday's live dye. Ooh,
Nice.
I love knitting socks. Okay, I greeted Gloria. Okay, so I think that's everything.
And then Niecy just came in.
Yeah. Hello, Nisi. How are you and what are you working on? Is it your birthday, Nisi? Or whose birthday is it?
It's a birthday party she's got to take her son to.
Oh, okay. Alrighty,
Little
alrighty.
man's got a party.
So, like I said, I have been away for a while. So, please bear with me today because I'm kind of not used to going live anymore.
No worries.
All right. So, first off, I'm curious, have any of y'all done anything to start trying to design your own patterns, played around with it? Let us know in the comments. And do you want to talk about some of your experiences, Pam, when it comes to designing?
Sure. Um, when I'm designing, a lot of times it's just sitting on the couch and using my, if I'm making a wearable, I'm just making something for my own body. Um, and I do a lot of frogging.
And that's one thing that comes with designing,
Mm-hmm.
which we're going to get into that more later in the live.
Yep. And there's a lot of like, especially if I'm making it for myself, there's a lot of like I'll get to the end of the row and I might have an extra stitch. There's a lot of backing up one or two and then just like faking it, like doing a little couples together. Um, and then I try to write it down and then I try to recreate it. And a lot of times I'll have to go back and I'll decide I don't like it. So I do a lot of scribbling out in the notebook, make a lot of notes. So that's kind of how my process is, just kind of wing it.
Yeah, and most of y'all probably know that I've done some designing. Now, I've done more with knitting, and I love making like the color work beanies with graphs. And I've done a few crochet designs, and I have a like one that once I make some tweaks to the pattern, I'll
Mm-hmm.
be releasing it. I don't know when that's gonna be because I've been behind. I'm trying to play catch up. But and then there's another scarf that I need to fix the top and bottom edging on it,
Mm-hmm.
and and then write it up and have it tested and all that. So that one will be even longer. But they are coming eventually.
Diane says she leaves the designing to others. And I have not designed anything in knitting because I don't feel confident enough in my knitting abilities. So I just kind of yeah. If I do something in knitting, I'm usually winging it, but it's usually just knit, 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 knit. I did make Connie's hat that she posted, her knit along. So, but yeah, as far as designing a knit, I'm right there with you, Diane.
And really, the sad thing is, I really need to kind of finish up that knit along because I never did do that video for
Oh yeah, for the other ending.
the other way to
Mm-hmm.
um do the decreases at the top. And
Mm-hmm.
then I wanted to show too how to weave in the ends. And I know that's something I've been requested to do. Um, so I want to, basically, outside of the knit along, and
Right.
then I think some people want to see it in crochet too. And at some point, that stuff will come. I'm not very quick at
Well,
getting.
well, and don't push yourself.
Mm, I'm
You,
not quick with tutorials. It takes me forever. But like usually
baby step.
when people make requests, I do write it down. So
I try to, or I say I'm going to. I'm trying to do better. I've got notebooks everywhere.
now there may be a few times I forget to write something down, but
Mm-hmm.
overall, okay. And let's
Hey,
see.
Anita. Hey, Lisa.
Now Melanie's asking about a new knit item, and the thing is, I did try to start a knit design, but I really don't think I have enough yarn for it.
Mm.
So I don't know. I'm gonna.
Just an excuse to go shopping, Connie.
But what's sad is I started on it, and I'm
Oh,
kind of
mm-hmm.
like, I'm kind of looking, and I'm like, because it's more of a wrap style
Mm-hmm.
shawl, I'm
Yeah.
like, that's gonna take more yarn, and it's a thinner weight yarn.
Mm-hmm.
Because
With that sparkly, how many yards do you need for it? Don't know.
this one, I think it's a number one weighted yarn. It might be a two weighted yarn. I got it from Vilrita.
Gotcha.
And I have, I think about, I know definitely 1,000 yards, but I think it's 1,200.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, because I know, like for instance, crochet and bag o' day shawls, a lot of times they take about 1,000 yards,
Right.
and she
And
normally uses a bigger weight.
and you mentioned in Bag O' Day, for anybody that is thinking about or wanting to try designing, she has got a challenge or it's not really a competition, but she's put it out there. If you want to learn how to design, you can take any of her stitch patterns that she's done, any of her tutorials really, and use a stitch and create your own item and then send her a picture. And she's going to do like a collage video showing everybody's pictures. But it's just that little extra nudge to help you. And she said you can use, I mean, don't use her pattern, exact, but like say you want to make a cardigan or you want to make a jacket, you can use one of her other tutorials to learn how to assemble it, but using her different stitches to create your own unique item. So I think
And it
that's pretty cool and
and it,
exciting.
it has to be a wearable. And
Mhm.
on her video, she has a list of what is acceptable and what's not.
Right. Yeah. And she's got all the deets on her page. And I know most of y'all probably here follow Crystal over at Bag O' Day. But yeah, just go find that video. And yeah, she's got a lot. I think it's a really neat idea.
And it can't be like a hat, scarf, cowl.
Right. But
Um, if it's a
it could be a
shawl,
poncho, a shawl, not a rectangle shawl,
yeah,
but like any.
yeah,
I've
no
got an idea for
rectangular.
a shirt and I really need to like just sit down and do it, but you know how that goes. And up in the chat, Samantha asked me what I am working on. I am working on, I've got one of these, well, actually, I had two of these big giant anniversary cakes. And that's another thing with designing is sometimes I design something based on a yarn I have, and sometimes I design it up here and then I have to get the yarn. But this one is a pattern that I'm just working up because I already had the yarn, and it's a very busy yarn, so you don't want to use a very detailed stitch because you're not going to be able to see it. So this is just, I think it's called the tulip stitch. You do a thing, it kind of looks like the drunken granny and gives the effect of corner to corner because you're just making these little 3 double crochet bundles. Sorry. But I think it's called the tulip stitch. For years, I had called it Drunken Granny, and then I looked up Drunken Granny one day on YouTube, and it's not. I think it's called the tulip stitch, but yeah. So that's what I am working on. But you just do a single crochet in the top of your chain 3, then you do a chain, do a little bundle, and so you've got like this little spiky top here. But you're working side to side and not corner to corner. But it does have that same effect. But I thought it would be good because it's such a busy yarn, like I said. And I wanted something that was a little more closed in. So it wasn't super holey, but just making a throw.
And
But
when it comes to Bag O' Days contest, I am planning to enter because I am working on something which I actually showed in my crochet video yesterday.
okay.
The only
Well,
way
Christy.
I won't enter is if I don't get it finished in time.
Right. I've got to get started on it because I have got an idea right here. It's right here. I just have to get it from here to here.
And I'm also making this in a smaller size as a
There you
motivation
go.
piece.
There you go. Hey, Kivia.
Which that make along that I mentioned earlier,
Mm-hmm.
that's basically along the lines. But like I said,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll explain everything more later in a
Mm-hmm.
video. But
Absolutely.
okay, let's
Hey,
see.
Angel Renee.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up on everything in the chat.
Hi, Doris.
No,
Scrolling
I see
through.
Melissa saying that she's made things that people have asked her to make patterns for, but she hasn't really designed yet.
Mm,
And Joy says she changes the pattern often and made her own pattern.
very good.
And I see Nisi saying she finished the second autism acceptance beanie. Now she's working on Montana Spa set for her last giveaway winner,
Nice.
and some other things too. Yeah, people are saying socks are addictive and stuff. So if you're interested in trying to learn how to make socks, the best person to go to is the Crazy Sock Lady on YouTube. That's
And
how I learned.
I have made like half of a sock. I've got to the heel and then it's just sitting there. I need to finish it, but I've only got one, so I'm like I could just snip it off and then make it be a cake cozy.
And then I see we have Anita in the house.
Hey, Anita.
And everybody that I'm greeting, let me know how you're doing and what you're working on. Diane says she leaves the designing to others. And we have Lisa that joined us. I know some of the
Hi,
people
Lisa.
I'm greeting, Pam's already greeted, but I can't remember like necessarily.
That's okay. I do the same thing. I greet people 2 or 3 times. It's all good.
Let's see. Melissa says if I ever did any patterns, it would most likely be for practical items like oven mitts and hand towels instead of wearables.
Yeah, and I've made some headbands, which I've been promising to do a tutorial for, and it's still on the list. I promise it's coming. But it's in Tunisian, but don't be scared because I said the word Tunisian is super duper easy, and I know all of y'all could do it. And you don't need a special Tunisian hook when I post it. You can just use your favorite hook because you only need like this much hook space. I mean, for the Tunisian, just as wide as the headband. So don't be scared.
I made one thing Tunisian, which was a pumpkin, but that's all I've really done. I still gotta learn it more.
Well, this is going to be in the honeycomb stitch, and so you don't have to worry about it curling. And it's really cute. And my plan was to get it out the first part of spring so that people could be wearing it. But yeah, I'm behind. I'm sorry. It'll get there, I promise.
Hello, Doris. Howdy, howdy. And Angel Renee. And Christy. And Kivia.
And Melissa said she's picking up groceries, so she won't be chatting, but she's listening.
Awesome. And Demetria and Bridget.
Hey, Demetria. Hey, Bridget.
Lisa saying that your throw was neat.
Oh, thanks, everybody.
Let's see. Anita's been weeding her strawberries. Bridget's setting the twist on 2 hanks for Mama G's event.
Nice.
Nisi says the only thing she's designed was her uncle's blanket that I made for him. It was a double herringbone striped wheelchair lapkin. Ooh, nice.
Oh, that's pretty.
And I believe I greeted Jamie already. And I think that's everything in the chat. So I'm caught up.
All right. What is the naked snail? What's her real name? I know Lisa Ladybird calls her Slug.
Demetria.
Demetria. Okay.
Okay, so when it comes to like helpful tips for designing patterns, the first thing you need to do is find inspiration. Like sometimes like some good sources could be magazines, Instagram, Pinterest. So those of y'all that have played with this designing, let us know where you found inspiration. And where have you found inspiration, Pam?
Well, like for this blanket behind me, I wanted something. I had the idea that I wanted something that looked like stained glass. And I had this happy colorway, which is the bright colors. And I thought if I just put some black to give the look of the like the black what is it, the wrought iron and the stainless steel, the black, to really make it pop. So that was the inspiration for this blanket. I just wanted something to look like stained glass. Other times I've taken, um, like I'll see a shirt or something in, like you said, in a magazine, or maybe even just watching a TV show, and I'll see a blanket and I'll be like, ooh, I think I can make that. Or I can, what do they call it? What do they call it on dupes or duplicate? The DIYers, they'll take like a high end thing and then they'll make a duplicate, or how, I don't forget what they call their videos, but yeah. So I try to do stuff similar to that.
Oh, hi, Zola. How are you? And what are you working on? Like for me, usually it's by looking at pictures. Like I'll go online, try to see if something inspires me. But that's for the most part like what I tend to do.
And I try not to, when I say duplicate it, don't copy it. Don't, I try not to like steal their design or their pattern or their idea. It's just something that inspires me. I like the way it looks, or I might like the flow of it, and then I'll try to make something that fits my body or my decor the way I, to where it's mine. I don't want to steal somebody's pattern. Niecy said she's got to go, but she's putting us on the cell phone, so she'll be listening. All right, Niecy, have fun at the party.
Have a good day. Let's see. Anita says she's also been working on a vest she's designing.
Nice.
Ooh, nice. And Melanie says she's drinking iced coffee and got her second diamond painting. Oh, nice. Yeah, if y'all haven't tried diamond painting, it's an awesome
I've got two kits now. One is a newer kit, and I need to do one. I just need to do them because I've heard. Oh, Tiny quit. Tiny scratching my chair. If y'all wonder, that's Tiny. You probably saw him float his tail by.
And it's not hard to diamond paint. It's very easy. It's basically sticking little pieces where they need to go. And it's kind of like the same idea of cross stitching.
Right. And I was thinking like mosaic tile and stuff too. I've seen different. Yeah. Hello.
And let's see. Bridget loves to design. Her inspiration is always, I want to look cute, but not the way everyone else does. I march to my own drum. And we're going to kind of talk about that later on, like being unique.
Yeah. That's like the design that's in my head isn't one that I want to get out. Go down. Isn't one that I've seen anybody else make. But it's something that I can visualize, but I haven't seen it. So since I haven't seen it, it needs to be made.
Let's see, we have Tank in the house.
Hey, Tank.
Howdy. How are you and what are you working on? Oh, no. Zola has a cold. I hope you feel better soon.
Sorry.
She's in bed trying to take a nap. Kivia says Furls is disconnecting the cookies StreamYard swirl.
I saw that. Yep. They're closing out one to make room for new ones. And I think they've still got a sale going on for those.
She calls that pattern tweaking.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's see. Melanie saying it reminds me of me and Mom sitting at the table putting a puzzle together. Anita saying my designs just pop into my head for no reason, apparent reason. Um,
That's kind of what's going on with this shirt. Like in my mind, I can see it and I want it, but I can't find it and I can't find a pattern for it. So I know I'm just gonna have to do it.
and Tank's making hats for Kendra for her charity. Sweet.
Oh, that's nice.
Jamie saying that um, diamond painting, I think it would be hard on my eyes, but yet I am now crocheting with thread. So don't listen to me. But like I find cross stitching can be hard on the eyes.
Oh,
And diamond
absolutely.
painting is nowhere near as hard on the eyes as cross
Hmm.
stitching.
Well, the diamond painting it's already there. At least the kits I've bought are already there. So you just it's kind of I guess that's why it's a little easier. Maybe I don't know.
And also, like you do have the symbols, but the symbols are like kind of in the color of the pieces you put on it.
Right.
So
And
kind of like, okay, I'm looking for a blue, or I'm
mhm.
looking for a pink.
And my thing with the diamond painting, I have a feeling that once I get into it, it's going to be the same as with cross stitch. I'm going to want to create my own. It's going to be like with any other craft I start. I'm going to want to make my own designs and patterns.
Mm. And Demetria says, I took a pattern for filet crochet from the lavender chair and customized it for my nephew and his wife for a wedding present. I incorporate their names and wedding date in the filet port. And that's one thing too. Even though you can't really say that you designed the pattern, but some of the beginning steps can also be like when you take one thing from one pattern and another
Mm-hmm.
thing from another pattern or another pattern, or maybe you kind of part of it's someone else's pattern, part of it's your own thing.
Right. And I do
And
that a lot with blankets. I'll mesh patterns together.
and I know one thing I used to do because when when I was knitting before I learned how to crochet, I like the cutesy hats. And with knitting, you either can't find the patterns, or if there is a pattern, it tends to be in child sizes. And I
Mm,
wanted it in adult size. So a
right.
lot of times I would look at a picture and try to figure out, like, and sometimes it was a crochet picture where, like, I would do like the basic beanie and then kind of like look at the picture to kind of see, like, when you embroider do the embroidery like for
Right.
faces, or like the eyes, because I didn't know how to crochet eyes. I would look up like kind of more of a circular shape, how to knit, and do that.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of some of the steps to take to begin getting into designing. But like I said, when it's someone else, you can't, you know, pattern and stuff, you really can't, you can't claim it as your own,
Right.
but it gets those
Gets
design
the
juices
juices.
flowing.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Demetria says they didn't realize the pattern until they held up the blanket and saw the detail in it.
Oh, that's cool.
And let's see,
Hey, Pamela.
welcome in, Wicked Granny.
That's Pamela. If
Yeah.
y'all don't know Miss Wicked Granny.
I always call her Wicked Granny because there's a lot of Pamelas and Pams.
I know. We're taking over.
I know. Now
Hers is
Crystal's
one that I
really
can
took
remember.
over.
Yeah. Wicked Granny's name I can remember.
But Pamela's are trying to catch up with the Crystals.
Exactly.
All right, and we also have Froggy in the house.
Hey, Jen. Welcome in.
How are you, and what are you working on? Anita would love to try diamond painting, but she thinks she shakes too
Can I
bad.
help
Oh,
you? I'm sorry. You could try a small one and just see how it does. One of the little small kits just to see.
Bridget says she thinks of diamond painting more like paint by numbers. Yeah, it does kind of have that concept too.
I also bought a new paint by number kit that I need to paint, and it's it's very detailed. I knew it was going to be like, but it like didn't occur. I mean, I knew it was going to be, and then when I got it in and I looked at it, I was like, oh my word.
And Demetria says, I can only cross stitch in natural light, have not tried diamond painting. And Melanie's mentioning about how you can send a photo to get it made of a diamond painting. And like Crystal, the Yorny chicken,
Mm-hmm.
like I know, I think it was her last birthday. Her mom sent in a picture of her cat Tom and
Oh,
had
that's
one
cool.
made.
Well, see, I've got a cross stitch pattern maker kit, so I can already like scan the pictures in and make a cross stitch thing. So I think if I got the sticky diamond painting grid, I could just do my own. But I haven't even attempted the first diamond painting yet. Like I said, I've got 2 kits and I haven't done either of them, so we'll see.
Yeah, and really with cross stitching you can too. I see Tank
Yeah,
doing
and
that.
I've started one with the cross stitch, but it takes a really really long time because I like it to be detailed.
All right. So the second helpful tip when it comes to designing patterns is start with a simple shape. Maybe something like scarves, a baby blanket, dishcloths.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all great beginner projects.
Absolutely.
Basically something small and repetitive. And
Mm-hmm.
those of you that have played with designing, what was your first design?
Probably for me was baby blankets because my mom taught me how to do the chevron stitch when I learned how to crochet. So I was probably around 8 when she taught me to crochet, and the chevron was the first like official stitch pattern, whatever, that I was taught. So I made a lot of things with that, and then after that, I just started making up. Um, I made a lot of toilet paper cover thingies. Like the look like a little, like look like a hat, but is made for a roll of toilet paper. But I mean, I didn't have a pattern back then. I just kind of made it up. And I'm sure a lot of it was my parents loved it, and I'm sure it was beautiful.
Hi, Crystal. Welcome,
Mhm.
welcome. How are you and what are you working on? She heard Tom's name.
Mhm.
Let's see. Like for me, when it comes to like what I first did with designing for knitting, let's see. I think it was my oh, what's the name of that one? Oh, the pink lemonade beanie. I think that was my first knit design.
Mhm.
Then, like for crochet, I believe it was my Easter plaid beanie.
As far as pattern designs that I've actually put out in the universe for other people to make, I think the first one I put out was it was either for a scrunchie or a face scrubby. And I know I have some washcloths out there too, but like with the washcloth, it's basically just stitches that I really like, and so I just use them to make washcloths. But yeah, I think those are and then later I did add this blanket. But most of the tutorial or the designs that I've come up with are just for me. I haven't put them out there for everybody else.
And like my first knit had, I don't know if you would say I really started off simple, simple, even though it was, I think, all knit stitches in the
Mm-hmm.
round, but it was color work. Like where it was kind of like plaid to
Yeah.
plaid, but not like the graphs. And with crochet, I did the waffle stitch.
Hmm.
So I kind of like didn't go with more of a beginner type stitch.
Right.
Let's see.
So I know this isn't like crochet related, but on that where Tank was saying they'll send, if you send them a photo, they'll make you a diamond painting. So for those that are familiar with diamond painting, does it look better if the canvas is colored before you put the little diamonds on it? Because like with cross stitch, you can get like a stamped cross stitch and it's colored, or you can get although the kit I just got is not the color of the yarn or the thread, but do the diamond paintings tend to look better that way? Or have you ever tried it on just a solid white canvas?
What I've seen of diamond painting, it's always got like the printed stuff,
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering, like if I tried to come up with my own, so sending a photo or sending what I want, to one of these companies and letting them print the canvas and then put the sticky and then send it back might be a better option. But I'm just wondering. Of course,
And I know, like with diamond painting, you have what you call a full drill, which basically means the whole picture you got a diamond paint, and
right.
and then you have what you call a partial drill, which is where some of it you do it, but then some of it is more printed.
Right, and I think I think the kit that I've got, the first kit is the partial. I think it's of like a little dog, and I think like it's like a Christmas dog, and I think like part of his hat has got the diamond drills on it, and like maybe his collar, but like the cat itself or the dog itself isn't. I think it's a dog, but anyway, but yeah. So just putting that out there. Okay, carry on. Sorry, I saw her. I
It's
saw her
all
thing, and I'm like, if I don't ask it now, I will forget, and maybe I will remember down in the chat when they answer what my question was, because that's my biggest thing is not remembering what I asked.
because I know we have gotten off topic to some, but
Yep.
it's all good. I feel like if it's anything to do with learning and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I want to help people.
Right. And while you scroll down, y'all, if y'all ever want to make a blanket or even um, a dishcloth or a hand towel, don't be afraid to mix your stitches. Don't be afraid to experiment with it. That's you can always frog it out, but don't be afraid. Like if you have one stitch that you think's really cool and you want to try it with another stitch, and say stitch A, you need it needs to be in multiples of 6, but say stitch B needs to be in multiples of 8 or 9. You can, the more experienced you get with it and trial and error, you can make your stitch counts work. You might need to add a little extra, add an extra stitch at the end, or maybe do a chain or a 2 together or something, but don't be afraid to mix stitches even if they don't have the same repeat.
And I am about to get into the stitch aspect more later on. Actually, I think that's the next top thing I was going to bring up.
See, segue. Didn't even know I'm reading your mind, Connie.
Because I have like my notes.
That's what my notes look like, and I left them over there.
And then like I had like kind of like gave you this information a while back too.
Yeah. And so like I'm trying to remember what I had written down, and that just popped in my head. So
Because we were gonna do the live and then I wasn't feeling up
that's
to
okay.
it and
Hey, we
canceled.
can't control. There's several things we can't control: weather, our health, and technology. We
So
just
that
roll
was
with
the
it.
one good thing. Like whenever I decided I felt like going live today, I was like, I didn't have to really do much to prepare because I already
You
had.
were you were ready to roll.
All right, let's see. Bridget first design was a pair of crochet shorts. She had been crocheting about 6 months. By that time, I still have and wear them all the time. Sweet. Let's see, Jace here. Welcome in. How are you? What are you working on? And those that have joined us, let me know what you've been working on and how you've been doing.
And Jay, you're not late.
Yeah, because really with lives, you can come in at any time. You know, some people can't stay that long. You know,
Exactly.
it's like kind of one of those come and go at your leisure. And then too, there's always a replay, like especially if you want to catch up like what you missed. Um, let's see. Crystal says, I'm best I can be working on trying to type up a pattern and a new custom diamond painting she got from Amazon. So how
Ooh.
is your leg doing today? Is it better? Um, Anita says she thinks the first thing she designed was a doll. Okay, I see Crystal says she's feeling somewhat better.
Good.
And then Wicked Granny says the first thing I made was a zigzag baby blanket for my son. It turned out okay, but I swore never again. And it forever. Yeah, Melanie saying how it's all stamped already. Um, let's see. Bridget says all of hers have been colored to do with the diamond paintings.
Okay.
Crystal says she hasn't done freestyle yet on diamond painting.
Mm.
That she would do a custom one on Amazon first.
Okay.
Hey, howdy, Brenda.
Hey, Brenda.
Yeah, for anyone I haven't greeted yet, let me know what you've been working on and how you've been doing.
Okay.
Crystal says freestyle diamond painting is like following a grid pattern. They do have books with diamond pattern grids.
See, and that's what I figured. I'm just wondering if I guess if I use the square ones that completely cover the whole, I guess with the square maybe would work better than if you did one with the round, because the square covers the whole little box. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Jay says I'm well working on a shawl for a wedding press. Joy's noticing I need to update Nightbot. Yeah, I think there were some things that I need to take off. But I did update like how Nightbot drops
Oh yeah, your birthday bash.
like my paid channel members.
Mm-hmm.
I did update that today, so all that information should be correct unless I made a boo-boo.
Yep. Oh look, and there's Anita. She was reading my mind too.
Like I said, I've been trying to catch up on, which I think I have basically everything caught up now,
Mm-hmm.
except my Facebook group. But like I know, like especially when it came to YouTube comments, because I was so far behind, I basically hoarded a lot of the comments. If I saw something that looked like it needed a response or that was important, I did respond. So when it comes to like YouTube comments or emails, if for some reason you contacted me the last couple of months and it was something important, send me another email because more than likely I overlooked it. It's not intentional if I didn't get back to you. Okay. Anita saying, in her opinion, the hardest part of designing is finding stitches you can use together because of the count. It won't always work with some stitches. And yeah, and that is true because that's one thing that like now that like I've been with those two scarf patterns that I had been working on designing. like some of them it took me a while, and especially the one that's like in the shades of pink that is called the Lady of the, I think it's Lady of the Morning.
I think so. Or,
It's not that, it's Lady of the Day. Because I know like two people had gave me
I
suggestions
remember, yeah, I remember
that
you
were
picked a
very
good, yeah, yeah.
close.
Yeah, and some stitches just, even if the count works, the stitches just don't look right together. And it
Mm.
may not even be the stitch, it may be the yarn,
Or
because some
some,
stitches look fabulous with one yarn, and then you do it with a different yarn, and I'm just like, I don't like that. Or hook size.
or another thing too, sometimes the stitch count's the same, but some stitches kind of like pull out, or in more.
Right. And they're, yeah,
So a lot of that really is playing around.
yeah. But by saying that, don't be afraid to try it because you won't know. You may think, ooh, that's not going to work. And then when you work it up, and do a little section of it, it may be amazing. And you may have found something that you absolutely love that you wouldn't have thought would go at all.
But
And
the
then it does.
irony is that like when it comes to designing with knitting is not anywhere like a big deal like it is with crochet.
See, to me, knitting, and I think it's because I'm not as familiar with knitting. I'm not as advanced. Like with knitting, I am very much a newbie. And I say that all the time. Even though I've been knitting since I was a kid too, I don't well, I should say that. I learned how to knit when I was a kid, but I don't do it as often as I do like with crochet. So like I might make one project a year in knitting. So if I mess up in knitting, I just frog the whole thing and start over because I've never learned how to go back and pick up my stitches. And see, when I learned how when I was little, it's not like I had YouTube to go see how to pick up a stitch. I mean, I could have asked my aunt, but by the time I would see her again, I had already just started over. Or I'd just have it with a big hole in the middle of it and just go on, not worry about it.
And you
So,
see, I learned how to knit first. See, I find knitting's more straightforward because it's basically you knit your stitches on your needle, you turn, and then you start all over,
mm-hmm,
over again. I mean, yeah, you do have some different stitches and stuff,
mm-hmm,
but especially like the basic learning is
yeah,
basically knit and purls. And
rude.
with crochet, because I attempted to try to learn crochet before knitting one time,
Mm-hmm,
and I didn't understand like when you got to the end of the row and the turning,
mm-hmm. Right.
because you chain and then
Yeah. And
you
like, but with knitting, you don't do that. Yeah.
you kind of you skip, and that just I couldn't get it. But you don't do that in knitting.
Right.
And typically, for the most part, I mean, your stitch count basically stays the same with knitting unless you're doing like increases or decreases.
With me, with knitting, I'm bad to like, as people drop stitches, I'm really good at adding stitches when I'm knitting. And I don't know why or how. I'll just get to the end of the row and I should have, 50 and I'll have like 52. And I'm like, well, okay. So then I have to shrink it back down. But
So those joining us,
hey,
that I
Chris.
haven't greeted yet, let me know in the comments how you're doing and what you're working on. I see we have Chris that joined us. Um, let's
Yeah, I'm
see.
just kind of scrolling down, everybody saying hi to do, hi to
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. Okay, Christy saying knitting is too slow and boring to me. And if I drop a stitch or miss a stitch, I have to rip it out and start over. Throwing the yarn is just tiresome to me. And you see, that's the hard part about when you learn to knit
Mm-hmm.
is the dropping stitches or
Yeah.
fixing your mistakes.
And Christy, on the throwing of the yarn, um, I didn't even know that the way I knitted was a thing. I hold my yarn in my left hand. I don't throw. I hold it as if I'm crocheting. And I learned my cousin kept saying, "Look up continental knitting." And finally I looked it up and I'm like, "Oh." She's like, "That might be easier for you." When I looked it up, I'm like, "Oh, hey, that's how I already do it." I can't drop it and throw it with my right hand. It just doesn't feel natural. So I just hold it all in my left.
And one thing for like those of you that want to learn how to knit, or you're like kind of beginner knitter, I
Mhm.
do have a video that gives some helpful tips to help prevent dropping stitches, and
Okay.
also like how to fix drop stitches and stockinette and garter stitch.
Mhm.
And
Now my
now
cousin showed me how to pick up the stitch, but I've never actually. Well, she showed me maybe a month ago. I haven't actually attempted to do it. So
Now, I think the one about like fixing drop stitches, I think that's in my knitting tutorial playlist.
okay.
If not, then it will be in the helpful knitting tips playlist. But the one on like the helpful tips, that's in the helpful tips playlist.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. Now one thing we may run like more over than I thought we would, that we might. So,
Mhm.
I don't know how long you can stay on till.
Okay. Well, we can just keep going, and if I
Okay.
need to pop out, I'll. Yeah, we're good.
All right. Because it's like I kind of have a
Mhm.
lot to cover.
Yeah.
And then like sometimes we're talking about some other things, and
Well, I mean, and we can always do part two and carry it over to the first
yeah,
part of June to our June one because that'll be in a couple weeks. So,
we may do that too. Let's see. We have Lisa in the
hey,
house.
Lisa, welcome in. Hola.
Lisa Lou. How are you and what are you working on? Okay. So the next thing is start off with a simple stitch.
Mm-hmm.
That way you get the juices started. Um Now when you like any of y'all that started designing, did y'all start with a simple stitch?
Mm, I started with a simple project. Yeah, the first thing I designed, I think, was I felt like it was probably pretty something fairly simple, not nothing too intricate, and like when I'm doing beanies, that's yeah, like the first beanie I designed for myself, like with my was it yeah, it was the simple stitch. I want to say it was like half double, all half double, just a basic beanie.
And basically I really did mention this earlier. For me with knitting, the stitch itself was, knit stitch, but I did do, where changing colors and stuff like that on the same row, which even though it really isn't hard to do, but it is kind of a more advanced thing in knitting because the stitches itself is really the same, but it's just when you like incorporate the new color.
Mm-hmm. Well, seeing like lace knitting and stuff, that just I haven't tried any of that.
I love lace knitting.
I know. I just
um
haven't tried any of it.
And that reminds me because like earlier whenever it was mentioned about knitting, actually I have not done any knitting since like I went into the hospital and got
Oh
out.
wow.
Um but like I want to finish.
Hey, Granny D.
Howdy howdy Granny D, how are you and what are you working on? But I want to get my bod design finished. And then
Mm-hmm.
I had a shawl that's on pause right now that I was working on previously. That, well, I may not, because at that point I may start kind of going 1 week crochet, 1 week knitting.
Mm-hmm.
But I have that I want to get finished. But then I think I want to start working on one of those beautiful lace. I think it's kind of lacy and cables shawl that Deanna M had gotten me for my birthday.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I want to try some more knitting patterns. I just haven't. And did you see Christy said she had her needle fall out of an entire row and she couldn't get it back in? I don't
oh my,
particularly like the needles. I prefer working in the round like the knitting needles with a cable because I find that I don't that doesn't happen as much to me if I have it on a cable.
and another thing that can help too, which this is really good, like if you're a beginner knitting, which
Mhm.
I didn't do this when I was a beginner, or if you're doing lace work,
Mhm.
is lifelines.
And I've
And
heard of that. Yeah, I've heard
and I
using
do have
lifelines.
a tutorial on that too, which is in my knitting tutorial playlist. And normally, like my videos, I tend to kind of try to sort them in playlists. So, like, kind of like our lives. Actually, both of us have a playlist uh,
Mhm. Yes, absolutely.
of our collab lives, and as we do them, we're going to be adding the new ones to it. Um, but okay, I lost my train of thought there. Um, Lisa said, "Doing well, working on a store baby blanket." And speaking of my train of thought, do y'all notice how I'm not having as like the issues remembering things and all that brain fog where I had trouble concentrating
Mhm.
and focusing?
It's gotten
Um,
better.
because I find like there's a big difference. Frank finds there's a big difference, and I think all that had to do with because my blood pressure was
Oh.
high.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. It gets you just yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Granny D's working on getting her grandkitty settled. Oh, that kitty's beautiful. If
It
it's the one
is.
I'm thinking,
Granny Dairy Tot, is it the big white fluffy kitty?
that's what I'm thinking of. He just got here for his 2 week stay within my young one, and her honey are in Japan. Ooh, Japan. I put in an order for some yarn from there if they find a shop or two.
Heck yeah. I work with a lady from Japan and I need to get her I hadn't even thought about it, but I need to be like, hey, see what the prices are for yarn over there. And next time they send her like goodie box, just stick a few skeins in for old Pamsky.
Oh, and that's one thing too. I did have a video that uploaded at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time today.
Okay.
So just to let y'all know,
Good deal.
I didn't think of the overlapping with today's live, but like I said, this was kind of spur of the moment, and I had already scheduled that video.
All good.
Um, let's see. The next thing that can be helpful with designing is grab yourself a stitch dictionary or a book,
Absolutely.
or even like going online,
Hmm.
finding stitch tutorials.
And there are a lot of them like that are did yeah, you can even go like if y'all have the Libby app, you can um get free ones that you can borrow. And I think there are even some on Amazon if you download them to your Kindle, to the Kindle app, that are free. But yeah, absolutely a Stitch dictionary, a book of stitches, or like you were saying, just Google stitches. Yeah, 100%.
You see, and I love looking for like beautiful stitches. And
Mm-hmm.
then another thing too, I kind of look for those that are beautiful that like I haven't really noticed like being used as much in patterns
Mm-hmm.
because kind of like whenever I was designing my Lady of the Morning scarf, I used the feather stitch, the drop stitch, and the other one has something with ocean in it. It's one of that one was one of Bag O' Day's stitch tutorials.
And a lot of stitches, y'all find out, if you like, different stitch books call them different things, but it's the exact same stitch. Um, like this is one book I've got, and this came in a 4-pack. I mean, you got 4 books. My mom got them. I want to say she got them from it used to be called ABC. Now I think it's LTD Commodities, but yeah, just get a stitch book. It doesn't even have to be a fancy stitch book, but just something that shows you different types of stitches and what they look like worked up. And I think I can't remember the name of it. I don't have it laying here. I thought I did. That's what I was looking for, but yeah, get back in there. Yeah, though, just looking at them, but like I didn't know the names of a lot of the stitches because, like, when I was littler, I just was taught how to do them and then just like combining them together, And I think I said this on my live one day. Just imagine how sad I was when I realized that I did not create all these stitches because, as a little kid and you're making these things up and you think, I'm a genius. And then you realize, you're not. That stitch was invented, in the 1800s or something. But but they all have different names. Like the griddle stitch is also the lemon peel stitch, and like Granny D said, the moss stitch is also known as granite and linen stitch. So different stitches have different names, but it's still the same concept. So just get you a book that's easy for you to understand, because some of the books aren't all created equal. So you may get one and it tells you how to do it, but it's not clicking with you. And some books have pictures and will show you step by step the stitches, and or go to your favorite designer or your favorite person that does tutorials, because most of them will have a playlist of stitches, and learn the stitches by watching what they do. Crystal, Bag O' Day, Mikey at the Crochet Crowd,
Fiber
Fiber
Spider.
Spider, Creative Grandma. I mean, there's so many that have, Secret Yarnery or Nastasia. They all have
The
great
textured stitch.
tutorials on how to do the stitches. Marley Bird, she has it for both knitting and crochet, and so does Fiber Spider. And once you get the feel of the stitch, you'll find your favorite stitches that you like to use. Like we know Miss Granny D, she loves her moss stitch. And I love the moss stitch. I don't love that the moss stitch shrinks itself down, and I feel like I've done like 5 rows and I've really done like 2. But it's so pretty, and I do have a blanket. That one right there is moss stitch. This one that's hiding out.
And I know like the Trinity, not Trin, the morning of the, I mean, Lady of the Morning,
Mm-hmm.
scarf that I design that I'm working
Mm-hmm.
on. Basically, you see, like that one I used. I think it's a Trinity stitch and the braided puff stitch.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like for instance, I'm doing a spade border at the top and the bottom. And that's one thing too. Like, and this is something like Dee with Dee's creative hands
Mm-hmm.
is really into, like, borders.
And that's
And that's another thing you can play around with.
Yeah, and there's several really great books of nothing but borders.
Hmm. But and I mean, lots and lots of good resources for it.
Absolutely.
And let's see, and basically just have fun with it. And like we were kind of talking about too, about like the stitch count aspect. That can be difficult
Mm-hmm.
sometimes making it work.
And see, my mind is kind of mathematical because I work with numbers. So something that might be easy for me to like rework and make the numbers work might not be easy for somebody that doesn't think like I do. So just because what works for me, may not work for you. So just play around with it until you and find the way that works best for you. So like if you don't think you can finagle the stitches to make it work, then when you're looking at the stitch books, put all of the ones or make a list of all of the ones that have the same stitch count. So that way or the same stitch multiple. So like if you know that this one is multiple of 4, I know I'm kind of backtracking on what I said earlier, but I wasn't even thinking about because I can finagle in my mind and add and subtract or whatever, but that's other people may not be able to twist their mind around that. So yeah, so put them all together. So if you have all of them that are 4 multiples of 4, and then practice with those stitches going together, and then like Connie was saying, some of the stitches, especially like if it's like a cable or like the basket weave or the waffle stitch, those stitches kind of draw in on each other, whereas something that's just like a straightforward double crochet or treble is going to kind of flow out, or like a V stitch or something. So, and you can also switch up your crochet hook size. Like if like I crochet really tight, but like say you're working on a design or a pattern that you want to incorporate the waffle stitch, but that pattern, that section is going to draw in. So maybe go up when you're doing that section, go up a hook size or 2, because that's going to loosen up your tension, and then that's going to make it be the same width as those other rows. And then you don't have to change up your stitch count. They're still working the same. And then if you want to do like a pattern repeat and go back to the V stitch or the double crochet, switch back to your main hook size and keep going. And that'll help it stay straight.
Yeah, because like now one thing that sometimes will help too, like if you kind of find something pulls out more or in more, like sometimes borders can help with that too. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you do some form of a border all the way
Mm-hmm.
around it.
And also blocking, although I'm not big on blocking because I want to be able to wash and go. I don't want to have, and if I give it to somebody, I don't want them to have to, I don't want, I don't want to, I try not to do stuff that's going to be too much work for the person that's getting it. But now there are certain things that, you just can't get around. You just have to block them. But, that's my little tidbit on how I design anyway. I
Or
try
like
not to get it to where I have to block it, but it is a helpful, and especially like too, like for like granny squares and stuff, if you block them, it makes it easier to like piece them together, and then they keep their shape because now they're attached, so you don't have to block it every single time.
or say like the repeat port, like you know how like your stitch count, say you're off by 2. And you know how normally usually your first stitch and your last stitch, it's always like either like a single crochet, double
Mm-hmm.
crochet, half double crochet, depending on what you're doing.
Right.
Well, so what you can do is do 2 at the front and 2 at the end,
Mm-hmm. Right.
where the it'll work itself out. Like little things like that you can kind of play with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And kind of goes along with the lines with that. If y'all want to keep, and this is what I do with my like the rice stitch, which also has another name which I can't think of right now, or the or my lemon peel stitch. What I do when I do those two, I start and end each row with a half double. because you're working front post, or you're like with the lemon peel, you're doing a double and then a single. So the half double is the same height. So that's how I keep, and then I start and end with a whole row of half double. That just kind of squares it off. But yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if other people do that. I do.
Let's see. Lisa Lou Who says she just made up a pattern on a baby blanket and came up with a really simple border. She wrote down the pattern, but she needs to type it up. She will probably do it when school gets out and she has 2 months off. Ooh, awesome. Way to go, Lisa.
Yeah.
Off
good.
With no work, where she's not working.
Right. Ooh, I can't wait to see it.
Wicked Granny's asking, have you ever tried the envelope border yet?
I haven't, although the thought of weaving in all the ends on, say, like a mosaic, the envelope border, it has great appeal to me. But what doesn't is that once you do the border with the envelope, then you got to do it again. So it's like twice the work, but I do like the way it looks.
I've never even heard of it.
I've seen it used like if you do like a mosaic, and the mosaic where you go one row and then you cut on either end. So you cut each thing, and then you got all these little fringes. So instead of doing like a fringe, you can do an envelope border. And basically you do a round of single crochet several times, and then you do it on the other side several times so that you've got two, and then you just put it together and leave all your ends in the middle, and then you stitch it all together.
And it's kind of funny because I know whenever I've had Dee's Creative Hands as a guest star, I think there's once or twice that we did the topic of borders. And it's like, and I like, like my research and all, and like stuff that we talked about, nothing about the envelopes border came up. Okay, Crystal.
Crystal.
I hope your leg feels better, and I hope you have a good day. And we have Lulu that joined us.
Yeah, I know, Joy. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I believe I told Joy hello already. Let us know what I'm getting tongue tied.
What you're working on?
What you're currently working on, and how you doing today?
Hey, Sindy.
Wicked Granny says, I think it's gained popularity with all the mosaic right now.
Absolutely. I think so too.
All right. So the next helpful tip is to write down every idea you have. You write down your ideas and write notes as you design your patterns so you don't forget.
Yep. And y'all, I've got tons and tons and tons of notebooks everywhere. I've got 2 over there that I meant to bring over here. This one I got at Dollar General, and look, y'all, it came with a ruler. I like these that are spiral bound. But I mean, any notebook, really. But like she said, just write it down. Write down what you want to make, what you think, yeah. Don't be like me and have 15 notebooks and have them in every room of the house, and then when you want to figure out how to do something, you don't know what notebook it's in or where it's at.
That happens to me a lot. Like with my channel, I use so many notebooks. And it's like, okay, like especially if something's been a while, it's like, what notebook is it in?
Yep. Oh, do I have it over here? No, I don't. I don't know where she's at. She's probably, I see her. I'll grab her in a second. I made up my niece's Barbie dolls were always naked and their hair was always crazy. So I was scrolling through Pinterest looking for a Barbie doll dress, and I found a picture, but there was no pattern. So I created a pattern based off of that picture, and I wrote everything down that I did. And it's in a notebook somewhere. So I made 2 dresses, and that pattern is in a notebook somewhere because somebody's like, "Can you make me another one?" That pattern is in a notebook somewhere in this house.
And one thing, like when you're like kind of working it up,
Mm-hmm.
write down everything, like especially what's to go in the pattern,
Mm-hmm.
because you will forget things.
Oh yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I could recreate it again, but I mean, it took me hours and there's a lot of scribbles and a lot of notes in the side that says, nope, this doesn't work, add a stitch here. And here, I'll grab it right quick.
And
Carry on.
and even me, like, even though I know this, I still sometimes, you know, can be like, oh, I'll remember that. And then it's like, and then afterwards, I'm like, I so should have wrote it down. Because there's a couple of things on my Lady of the Morning Scarf that I'm like, okay, I gotta kind of like remember, because I know there were certain things that I kind of had to do to kind of make it work. And I'm like, oh, I got to remember this. But I think I can figure it
Yep.
out by looking at it.
Okay, this is it. And I had gotten a lot of yarn or a lot of crochet thread when my grandmother passed away, so I was wanting to use it.
Nice.
My friend was like, "Can you make me a dress like that to get married in?" Probably could, but no way. That's what it looked like. The only problem is it's a little low cut for her little tushy. I just laced it up the back. But yeah.
And I'm curious, those of y'all that design patterns, how do you keep track of your ideas and notes?
Bye, Granny D.
Have a good day, Granny D.
Okay.
I may be running a little, into your live spot today,
We'll come visit.
but I will tell everyone to alien invade you.
Yeah.
Um,
This is just the granny stitch, y'all. This is just, granny stitch at the base. And, I probably could come up with something like this, though, with a solid stitch at the top and then do like a granny at the bottom for like a shirt. See, now y'all got me thinking. Oh, hey, and if anybody ever wants to know, if you are ever at a show and your booth is outside and in the sun, Barbie's feet will melt. I was like, what is wrong with her? And I look over at her feet's like all melted out. So, but yeah. But
I remember like when they changed the heads to Barbie,
mm-hmm.
it kind of was like more hard, like a hard plastic in a sense, and it had kind of that little ball in the neck. Or
Oh,
on the
yeah,
head.
where the head, yeah.
I did not like those.
I don't know I don't know what she's got. I don't, but her hair is just made with a chain and it's just tied together.
And they may have changed it because it's been years since I played with Barbies.
Yeah.
But basically, like I know I had one doll that had that type of head and neck. And it like cracked and like a piece was broken out. And it was like, that was one of my favorite Barbies too. And I was like so upset.
I think this one is just where it goes up and then it's got like that little plastic, like bigger part, and you just snap the head back down on top of it. I don't think that one's got the ball. I know what you're talking about now.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it never happened to the way the heads were before.
Right. Yeah.
You could take the head off and put it back on easily, no problem.
Let's see. Wicked Granny. What are the deer head things in my profile picture? That is when I was doing wood burning. They are actual, I drew deer heads on it. Well, I traced a deer head on it and then I burnt it by hand. But I don't do those much anymore because a lot of people around here have the glow forge or another laser, and so yeah, they take a long time. So I don't do them as much anymore. And I mean, it was just something I wanted to try. I wanted to try my hand at wood burning, and so I made those are Christmas ornaments for a girl I work with, or used to work with.
And like for me, as far as like how I tend to keep track of my notes and stuff, I just use like a some form of a notebook journal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the funny thing is, I was meaning to show you some of my notes from,
Same.
and the notebook that I have most of my notes in, I don't have by me.
Right. And see, I know I've got one like right over there, but some of them are in the other room. And it didn't even occur to me to like grab them up, knowing that what we were going to talk about today is what I mean, that was like on my mind to bring them, but like all these are empty. These are new notebooks, and I don't. Yeah, but yeah, this one's laying here. I mean, it's a new one that has different ideas in it, but yeah, just this one came from Dollar Tree. You don't have to spend a fortune on notebooks. Like this one, I think was $3. You can buy them at Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree has the spiral ones. Some are hardbound, some are softbound. They have different sizes. Walmart. Yeah. I sent Connie one from Walmart. It's fuzzy. Didn't I get you the fuzzy one?
It was the
Fuzzy
pizza
with the
alien
alien?
one.
Yeah. I can't remember. I was kind of thinking he was soft, but he may
Take
not have
me to
been.
your leader.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, but that's what works for us. Some people type it up. I have a friend, she types everything
Mhm.
into her computer. She has nothing written down, which is probably what I should do. Like after I jot it down, I should put it in the computer because then I would know where it was at. But
I
yeah,
mean, you could buy something as simple as like a one subject, three subject, five subject
yes.
notebook.
And hold on. That's what this is over here. And I get them when it is back to school time and they're all on sale and you can get them for like a quarter or a penny or a
Hmm.
dime or whatever,
You,
let's
you
see.
you don't have to spend a lot of money,
Exactly.
for your notes. Let's see.
Exactly.
Cindy's picking, I guess, up her phone today. So I'm so sorry if I missed somebody's comments.
That's
Uh,
good. I think she's typing on her phone. Yeah.
Christy's still working on the Forever shawl because it's taking her forever to finish. It's actually the Pure Innocence shawl by Bod. Yeah, and Bod's like an excellent source for like,
Absolutely. For stitches, and she's a great teacher.
and
She's a
like there's
great
even
teacher.
going to be something else that's going to be mentioned that has kind of like she's a good source for too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see.
Thanks everybody for your nice comments on the Barbie dress.
Yeah.
I do need to find the book because that would be a easy pattern to share. It's just a matter of finding it. Mm-hmm.
And even like Joyce saying, a notebook with lots of things scratched out, then I have to copy it over when I'm done. Oh, trust me, you'll see like all sorts of scratched out things in my notes.
And I do that too, and I try to and my bad thing is like you were saying when I was grabbing the Barbie is that I'll remember that. And I'm like, oh, that's my favorite hook. I will for sure remember that I'm using that hook for this project. Well, then, a year later, I'm like, that was a thinner yarn. Which hook was I using? Was I using this one? Or was I using that one? I
Yeah,
have to
because
write it down.
sometimes you can forget what what size hook
Mm-hmm.
you're using. You
Yep.
know,
Hey, cute.
little things like that, especially like because I know like me, I tend to do 1 week crochet, the next week knitting,
Mm-hmm.
or in the past, like I used to do part of the week crochet, part of the week knitting,
See,
and
I try to be structured like that, but I'm day to day. Like I may be even like hour to hour. Like right now I'm working on this because I wanted to work on something that wasn't anybody else's pattern while we were talking about creating our own patterns. So that's why this isn't. That's why. Well, it just lays here. But
I
like in the other room, I'm working on a pattern that's somebody else's. So
I started doing that, especially when I started my channel. So
mm-hmm.
I would have like a knitting video and a crochet video. Well, at
I
first
need to do that. I need to. I need to be more structured like you when it comes or disciplined for myself. But like I know, like if I need to get started on a diamond painting, but I know if I do, that I'm gonna want to do nothing but diamond painting for until it's done. And I've got several cross stitch projects that I've got started. So I need to be more structured like you and be like, okay, today is this day. But sometimes when I wake up, I'm just not feeling that particular project. Like I'm not feeling knitting today. So I might do, but now when I get the knitting bug, that's all I want to do for like 2 or 3 weeks straight. And then I'm like, okay, back to crochet. And then knitting will sit there for however long. So
but the thing, like with me, I was doing, my crochet Tuesday videos and my
right.
knitting Friday videos. So I kind of wanted, like, to show like what I've been working on and
Right.
talk about it. But like, if you hadn't been working on it, it's like, I
Yeah.
didn't really have anything.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
So, and now I'm doing, well, 1 week's knitting, 1 week's, um, I'm sorry, 1 week's crochet, then 1 week's knitting, and then back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
back and
Yeah.
forth.
That makes
Um,
sense.
and then I changed the names. Like crochet is now hot off the hook, and
Mm-hmm.
knitting is knitting chronicles. But right now you won't see any knitting until I get Bag O Day's design done, because that's time sensitive.
Right, because you want to get it done. Yes. Yeah.
Hi, Kim, and everyone else that has joined us. How are y'all, and what are y'all working on? Um, Bridget says she loves doing wood burning, but she agrees they take forever by hand. I only do it for me now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. After I made those, I made them that year. It was I mean, that was probably maybe 5 years ago. And that's what I do now. Because they take a really long time and I just can't, I can't sell them for what people that are mass producing them can do them for. So I'm like her. I just do it for me or for gifts.
Let's see. We have Maritza that joined us. Howdy,
Hola,
howdy.
Maritza. Welcome in.
Kim says, I keep all my notes on project pages on Ravelry, but I also have a section in my Happy Planner for knitting and crochet.
Okay.
Okay, I hope you have a good day, Christy.
Bye, Christy.
Jay says, every weekend I pick one of my whips and
That hasn't worked on.
okay. Hold up, it jumped on me. Where am I?
Yeah. I'll finish that one and work on it because as soon as I finish, then I can start something else. That's a good idea. Like this one, I just want to get done because I've only got about half the skein left. Of course, I mean, it's that big giant ball. So, I mean, but so this has been sitting here. So this is when I'm on other people's lives, I'm working on it project right now. Trying to get it done. And before it gets like super duper hot and I'm all sweaty when I'm trying to work on it.
Okay, bye, Sindy, and thank you. And I hope you have a good day.
Bye, Sindy.
Let's see. Kim says, I am a mixture of both. I do try to plan my projects for the month, but I also like to have a variety to choose from for the month of knit, crochet, sometimes spinning, and cross stitch. Jay says, every weekend I pick out a whip and only work on that for
Yeah, I think it was. I think it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's the same. It's just
Yeah.
reworded. Yeah, it got jumbled. Yeah.
Let's see. Kim says I set myself goals at the first of the month, and that keeps me motivated.
Hmm. Yeah, I
And
do the same thing. I try to, even if I have like 10 goals, even if I can reach like a couple of them, then I feel like I've at least got something done. I'm proud of myself.
and that's something that I don't think I have like in my notes
Hmm.
to cover today. So that's another, good helpful tip.
Hmm.
Um
Bye, Wicked Granny.
okay, Wicked Granny's going to have a good day. Hi, Pamela.
Hello.
How are you and what are you working on? Yeah, we're still here. I don't know how much longer. I'm figuring probably 2 hours, if that's okay with you, Pam.
Well, I've actually got to go watch graduation. It started
Okay.
at 2. Instead of going physically in person, I was going to do it virtual. Um, but we can go for a little bit longer. I don't know if I can stay on another full 30.
Okay. Okay. And I see, I think more people are headed to Granny D's too. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to finish going through the comments in the chat. And then I'm gonna, basically wrap things up. And
Okay. Well, I'll hang here
basically,
then.
we're gonna do a continuation, and it may end up
Okay.
being more than one
Oh,
continuation.
yeah.
Um,
I think we're
because
almost to the bottom of the chat. I can hang out for a little bit. Go ahead.
okay, because we should be pretty much back to doing it monthly, and normally we do our lives Monday, the first Monday of the month at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Right.
Um, unless something changes. Um, and is always a possibility of cancellation.
Right. And we'll try to
Um,
let y'all know on community tabs, Facebook posts, whatever, another video, something to let y'all know if we've had to reschedule. And like Connie was saying earlier, we both have playlists, and we'll always drop our live link or our live scheduled lives in those playlists. So you should be able to just go straight to our playlist and see that, you know,
mhm.
if that it's
That's
coming up.
one thing I did forget to put your link in the in the description box. I
Yeah.
meant to
That's okay.
because I usually try to do that whenever like I have a guest star or
Mm-hmm.
something. Um, but yeah, if those of y'all that aren't familiar with Pam, go check her out. Her channel name is Be Creative Crafts. If one of my moderators, if I have one here, if they could drop her link, that would be awesome. But I will try to remember to add it when the live ends.
And I'm opposite, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm pointing to my name here or if I'm pointing to my name here. So we'll just do both. It's either Be Creative Crafts.
Oh, thank you, Pamela. Yeah, and for those that don't know, like why I've been missing in action, I did a video that has "Please read" in the title that explains it all.
Hey, Christine.
Okay, yeah, Joy's going to Granny D's. Have a good day. And Pamela says, "Oh, and I made a little mouse named Emily." And Christine just joined us. How are you doing? And what are you working on? Okay, so you want to kind of continue a little more on the
Um,
thing, or you want me to wrap up?
that's. I mean, if you want to keep going, I can't. I can't stay much longer. But let me.
I'll probably go over one more thing
Okay.
on my list, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay. And I'm gonna go look and see if graduation has started because I figure if they, I can look that up while you do that though. Go ahead.
See, because really, I thought I'd finish in an hour 30 minutes. I really did, but I didn't know because I mean, there's kind of a lot to talk about.
There really is. Hey, Tina. I
And
mean,
then I
there's a
also,
lot of different, and I'm like the master of like getting off topic.
hmm and I also like to interact with with everyone in the chat.
Right.
And like I'm the type that I like making sure I greet people. I just think it's friendly and polite,
Exactly.
and it gets where you know people better. And then too, like sometimes, you know, people are asking questions, or even if you get off topic, usually I'll still talk about it because it's something with, you know, that you could be helping, that you could be helping others. So the next thing on my list, oh yeah. Hello, Tina. I know Pam just told you hi. How are you and what are you working on? Okay, where did I leave off? Okay. Another thing that could be a helpful idea or tip is to create a sketch of your design. This
Absolutely.
helps to see if your idea works, basically. And I'm curious, like those of y'all that do any designing, do you make a sketch of your designs?
Yeah, and let me grab this notebook because I also will chart it out, kind of, sort of. But I mean, I don't necessarily use like the official like um symbols that they do on charts, but I try to draw it out, and it helps me see if my stitch count is gonna work and if it's gonna. But let me grab this notebook.
Okay.
It may not be in this one, but I'm gonna grab it and see because it's laying there staring at me, going, "Pick me up."
All right. Well, she's getting that. Like, I tend to use, like, I wouldn't say like a lot of stuff I don't sketch out. But if it's something that like is color work where I use a graph, like especially my color work knitted beanies, and I do have one, the alien crochet beanie that has a graph. And there's a website which it's called Candy Pattern Maker. And I need to remember to put that link too in the description box. But I'm gonna kind of show you more on it, like once Pam gets back and finishes with what she wants to share with y'all. Because this, might take a little longer for me to kind of share things to do with Candy Pattern Maker. Let's see, Tina saying she's never designed anything really. Okay, Pam's back.
Yeah, it's not in this one, but this is just like what Connie was saying. I mean, it's just a notebook, and this one's got pockets, and this is what I did for my burlap wreath. So, and what I did and how much I paid for the materials. I mean, I write it down for everything. It doesn't even have to be crochet or knit. It can be like whatever. So this must be the new one. This one is not that's not my scratched out notes. That is the recopy. So this is the final project book. But I'm looking to see if this one has anything in it. Okay. This was one I was watching a tutorial for, so this one's not mine. This is the Goodnight Kisses Baby Blanket by Jeannie. But see, I wrote down the repeat. Single and then an X, so I don't even know what that even means now. Single X, double crochet, single, double X. I don't even know what that means now, but at the time I knew what it meant. But, so, if you make notes, make them so you'll remember what they are for the next time. Tina said she's seen that many use graph paper. I do use graph paper too.
I actually bought some graph paper, but I never actually used the graph paper yet.
I use my graph paper for like rearranging my craft room to see if stuff's gonna fit. Like I'll be like, okay, this is this many squares. Okay, let me just show y'all. Like, okay, so if I'm doing a hat, like when, because you're saying sketch it out, like I'll sketch it out and draw it. But like if I want to know, like, okay, so that's my center, and then I want to do one. Okay, like then I'll do like a chain between them. This is going to be like a super terrible drawing. But it'll give you an idea. It's not very big. That is not even big enough for y'all to see. So that is a little dot, and then I made the little double crochet, and then I did chains, and then that little X is a single crochet on top of each of those double crochets. But that's just, you know, and then like maybe I'll draw it out this way to do 2 more double crochets. I'll make it bigger. And then, you know, that way you can kind of see how it's going to lay and if your stitch count is going to work. And so I kind of draw it out that way too. Or if I'm doing like a graph, or if I know that I need to, I do a lot of dots and dashes. Like I'll be like, okay, so I need to do a dot, and then I'll need to chain, and then I need to do another dot, and then I'll do a double crochet. So these, like, it just helps me keep the math straight. And like when I'm making the pattern up at that time, I know what these dots mean. Like that dot might be, you know, double, 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 and then here chain skip, double, 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 chain skip. So that may be how I, you know, like I wouldn't pull this up and then automatically know what that means. But at the time, I know what it is. And it helps me write it out at that time.
Cool beans aroni.
You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense at all to y'all?
Yeah. I see we have Angela that joined us. Howdy, howdy.
Hey, Angela.
And how are you and what are you working on? And Pamela became a channel member. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yep, and down here, she's saying she didn't know that her subscription had ran out, so she was fixing it. She's resubscribing to you. Or resubscribing, yeah.
Because I know, like there was another Pamela, but more maybe if it was only like for a month or something, it's not like ringing a bell offhand. But like I had been in a brain fog and stuff, so I mean it's not like I intentionally tried to forget because I do really appreciate it. But what I need you to do is, do you have all my patterns already? If not, send me an email because when people become a member of my channel, they get all my patterns for free. And then as long as they're, you know, still a member of my channel at the time, if I release a new pattern, you also get that for free. But I also ask, like, if I release a new pattern and I don't automatically send it, to email me. So to make sure you get your pattern, because sometimes I can be forgetful. But anyway, let me play my little short video. Okay, and now I'm gonna share my answer, and
Okay.
then we're gonna be, oh, okay, it's okay.
That's what I was going to say. It's Pamela McGuire. Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with like the name changes. But yeah. So after that, then we're gonna basically wrap up and there's gonna be a part 2, maybe a part 3.
For sure.
But next month it's gonna be on Pam's channel. And I think what I'm gonna do is like share my notes in its entirety with you.
Yeah.
And those can be talking points, or if you think of something you want to add to my list, you know, we can put that down to add.
Yeah. And my notes may be in my laptop case
And we're
because I normally do the lives at work. So,
and
yeah.
basically each month we're going to continue on this topic until we get cover everything. But for me, I was kind of starting to talk about this when Pam was going to get her notebook.
Mhm.
The website that I like to use, I'm pulling it up. Oh, oopsie. Like I said, it's called Candy Pattern Maker, and I do plan to put the link in the description box for y'all if y'all are interested. But as you can see, it kind of shows some of the stuff I played around with some of my graphing. Like this was an idea I kind of had for an Easter beanie with an Easter egg, but I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it as much. But I mean, I still may at one point go with something, either that or something similar. And this was one where, well, I did kind of make the hat, but I think I had made some mistakes with it. And I really didn't like how, like, I had initially done the graph, so I tweaked it. But I've never gotten back to making this design. It's supposed to be like a Easter peep. And here's like, well, at least part of the candy corn when I made the candy corn beanie. But the funny thing is, I don't see the top part. I don't know. I don't think all my stuff saved. So, and then the turkey beanie, and you can kind of see how I played around with it because this was basically what I started with. I didn't like how it looked. Then there was this. I didn't like it. And then finally, I went with this. And then this was something I kind of played with at, for a Christmas design, but I don't know how I'm quite feeling on that one. But I may try to play and get something else with it. And here's the pumpkin spice coffee one from the beanie I designed. And then I was thinking about doing something, patriotic, which initially this is what I wanted to design for whenever I do a knit along showing how to do like a color work beanie with a graph. But I haven't gotten to that knit along yet. Well, it'd be like a knit along tutorial, basically.
Yeah. Well, you'll get back to it. It just takes time.
And this is one that I want to design a bee, which I think here will love.
Yeah.
And this was like one of my alien ones, which I have it twice, and it looks like it's the exact same. So I don't know why I have it twice. And then I was thinking about maybe a snowman one. I kind of started playing, and basically, like say you want a width, like how you see the generate template rows and columns. Like say if you want the width to be 20 stitches, like kind of 20 stitches that you're playing with, and the height, let's do 20. So you hit create pattern and you just kind of play. Like
It looks a lot like my pattern maker that I have for cross stitch.
and you can kind of change the color. And you just kind of play around. Now, normally I do this like to create the graphs, but when it comes to like whenever I put the graph in patterns, I then basically take my graph and draw it out in Microsoft Excel.
Mm-hmm.
But that's basically what I do. All right. So let's catch up with the chat. And like I said, then we'll wrap up. Where did I leave off? Okay. Hold on. I think there were a few I didn't read.
Hey, Charity. She came in while you were showing that.
Hi, Charity. How are you doing? And what are you currently working on? Yeah, Tina saying how she's seen many use graph paper designing. And thank you, Angela, for doing that.
She also says she needs to do that for when she's moving around furniture with the graph paper. I do have to write it down, then I draw it out because in my mind I think it's gonna fit, and then when I actually get it there, not so much. Or it's like overlapped, like so. Yeah.
And Angela's making lots of daisies for an Irish crochet skirt.
Nice.
Okay. And they've been working in the yard today. All right. Angela loves the bee. All right. So that looks like everything in the chat. And is there anything that you want to mention that's going on your channel?
Um, I just go live every Thursday night. I have bumped it back. I used to go later, but now I start at 8 Central every Thursday. I invite people to join me on panel, and we talk about anything and everything. We try to keep it mostly focused on craft, but I mean it does go off the rails. But I just ask everybody to come hang out, bring a project, and we just sit and chit chat. Um, I do have some new segments that I'm going to be putting out on my channel. Probably in June. I'm thinking June. I may push it back to July. Either June or July, I'm going to do a monetization party. I'm thinking probably July because June is almost here because, the month is kind of flying by. But yeah, when I get that scheduled, I'll let everybody know. And yeah.
And like with my channel, I know I said that I probably wouldn't be around much, but after making videos, I'm motivated. So I'm gonna try to, as based on how I'm feeling, or I have some stuff medically where I don't know
Right.
what it's gonna mean yet. My doctor's trying to figure some stuff out. So I mean, I might kind of like pop out some, but for the most part, I'm back. But I'm not going to kind of say that I'm officially back
Right.
because of that. But um, and some of this I kind of mentioned earlier in the live, but I'm kind of gonna just briefly mention. Um, I do have a couple of new things coming to my channel, and it has to do with things to help people that are looking to lose weight. And I will be making a video for sometime this coming week that's going to talk about these things more. And I am going to do a video making some channel announcements too. But like my live schedule has changed. I'm only doing Saturday lives. And like I said, I'm going to get back into it more in that video. And I feel like I'm forgetting to mention something.
Mm. Change your live schedule. You got your new crochet video called Hot Off
Yeah.
the Hook. You got your knitting one. Your weight loss. I think that's it. I think
Yeah.
that's what you covered at the beginning.
And as of right now, since I've been back, there are four new videos. So if y'all haven't watched those, but I think that pretty much covers it with my channel. So I'm going to play my closing video and then say our goodbyes. Where are you? All right, so thank y'all for watching. I hope everyone has a fabulous journey day. Be the light and bye.